Bit of a weird one. That's Disney's Newport behind me. I'm in Disneyland Paris currently. It's about 11:15 at midnight. Kids are ready for bed. This is our last night, going home tomorrow. And this one's just to give you a bit of an insight into the headspace of someone who's trying to start a small business and is conflicted on a bunch of different levels. And what do I mean by conflicted? I guess we can start with the whole title of the video really, and the fact that it never really stops in your mind. It seems that when you come to a place where you make a decision and you want to improve things, I suppose, for the betterment of your family, at the same time try and keep it within your moral compass. I'm basically deciding to do what other people have done and create a TCG business. We're selling a product that already exists. It's not like I came up with Pokemon cards and Pokemon product myself, is it? So I'm nothing special. And you ask yourself a question, don't you? Why me? I'll give you the why I'm filming here kind of thing. It gives a lot of perspective, if you will. One, where you want to be in life, because it's February in Disney. It's supposed to be low season, I can tell you now. I wouldn't want to be in high season. It was packed tonight. It is Saturday, granted, but... And you're thinking, I want to be able to just afford this kind of thing for my kids whenever they want to come, without spoiling them, as we said before, but and do this thing without really worrying about it. That's the final goal. Relating it to a small business owner in a small community, in this case, a Pokemon TCG business. And when I say small community, I mean very small. Gibraltar is a place with only 40,000 inhabitants on a good day. So the first thing is, why did I even think of trying it in Gib? Did I think it through to the final point? Because if anyone thinks that they're going to start a business in Gib and a very niche product such as it is Pokemon, even though Pokemon's world renowned, one of the highest grossing media franchises of all time, if not the most in Gibraltar, I'd be surprised if you could find between 100 to 300 real collectors that do it day in, day out, and they collect for their own array of reasons. And I plan to interview them all anyway, but that's the truth. I don't think you do. So if anyone thinks that they were going to start that business in Gib, have a future in it with just counting Gibraltar, I think you're wrong, unless you plan to expand into all different kinds of other products, that are popular amongst the masses, which is probably why toy stores exist, My point being is because the idea of the company was always to branch out into the southern coast, okay? So the south of Spain, I speak fluent Spanish too. Let me know if you ever want me to do a video in Spanish just so I can prove it. Actually, I plan on interviewing someone in Spanish fairly soon. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. That was the plan. And the idea, even I could just get 1,000 consistent clients a month, getting £6 to £7 profit, that at least retires the wife, which was the first objective. If it grew from there, then cool. If not, then I'm more than prepared to put in those shifts and crack out the overtime until that back gives out. That's the truth. That's just who I am. So yeah, what I was saying on why I'm filming it here in Disneyland Paris is because once you start a small business, what I don't seem to see a lot of people talk about, here and there you see it, but you don't really understand it. But you feel like it really doesn't switch off in your mind. You're constantly on, you're wired, if you like, where you're just constantly wired around worrying about you're taking time off of the business, if you like. So whilst we've worked very hard for this holiday, and this has nothing to do with business funds, trust me, I don't make that much money to pay for Disneyland Paris, nowhere close. But whilst we did earn this holiday, and we've had a few years of strife and grafting and putting in overtime, and anyone that works with me knows it's been put in, I've still not managed to switch off. Quite far from it, actually. I felt a bit guilty of leaving my own business. Guilty towards yourself. And at the same time, I'm kind of thankful for it, because if I hadn't have found that, I probably wouldn't have been able to switch off from my real job. I probably wouldn't have been able to switch off from it. And I find that really easy now when you're trying to focus on a business and work for yourself. I find it quite easy to switch off from my old job. Maybe that's because I'm more experienced as well, and time just, allows you to switch off easier. But it's a real weird one. And it's not like I've got that much clients, because I don't have that many clients. Like I say, we're probably going to close off January with about 40 to 50 sales max, and I'll give you a profit video and the honest truth of how much that makes in profit, because my profit margins are very small for all the right reasons. I believe in that long-term growth and keeping clients long-term than just trying to get that fast buck. But you still feel like you're failing a few people here and there by not being around and not being able to shoot out those deliveries and stuff like that. So I suppose it's kind of like a guilt of not working, because it's kind of like the first holiday I've had since starting the business. First holiday I've had in a while anyway, but definitely since starting the business, and that, makes you feel a little bit different. So I don't know if any of you sympathise with that, any of you small business owners or freelancers or guys and women that just work for themselves. how taking time off does not feel like time off. I'm sure like big time influencers or YouTubers or business people, business owners, you name it, you know, actors probably, performers, I bet, and obviously I'm nowhere near that level, but I bet those people never really feel like they've switched off or can switch off. They got to just keep grinding and going. Probably professional athletes too. And I'm getting my first little tiny taste of that. And this is just me trying to document that journey of, I don't feel like I can stop now. I feel like I've hit a point, or the hook's in my mouth enough to go, you've got something decent here. Customers are valuing what you do. People are liking you for you. Why not crack on? And when I say that, I mean very little people, probably like 10, maybe, if you can count that many. But that's enough for me right now. One's enough for me right now. And from that point, I just keep going, because there must be more than one, right? Yeah, we'll see. All the while, it's a major doubt in the back of your mind. I'm sure every small business owner probably faces this, or anyone who freelances out and decides to work for themselves or jump for a dream. There's a doubt in the back of your mind saying, what if none of this works? Have I made a mistake getting into the niche that I love in the place that I live? After this, you've got all the geopolitical issues. Even if I manage to conquer Gib, per se, and you end up with the only 200 to 300 clients that you're ever going to end up with there, and manage to even expand the hobby and gain a few more by educating people. Like I say, Gib's never going to break the bank just based on population alone. And if you then go into numbers of population, you compare it to the amount of people that buy Pokemon product, like a game, for example, that we actually have tangible numbers on, and then calculate that with the rest of the population of a certain country, say Spain, for example. And then out of those 100 people that buy the game, how many people collect cards? Maybe one. Numbers start to go down, right? And unless you've done your research, you're gonna struggle. It's a lingering doubt in your mind where, I just suppose that's part of it. On the flip side though, there's a lot of positive, you know? When I started the idea of the collector files and interviewing collectors, reaching out to people, asking them if they would like to be interviewed, managed to convince a few people, establish relationships, met some collectors, different perspectives. That's really cool. And that community side of it, I'm really valuing. And I'm really, you know, I just didn't expect people to have all these different perspectives on it, and the whys and the whens, and I'm really enjoying that. So I think in terms of continuing the content and continuing the business, I'm going to continue it on the basis of I'm actually really enjoying what I'm doing. Do I know it's going to work? Is it guaranteed that it might work? No, at all. However, am I committed to seeing where it goes and how far it's going to go and whether it works? Yes, I am. That must be part of it as well, right? Chasing a dream and just going, you know what? I'm going to commit to this. Dive in head first. Penguin dive, you know, like arms behind the back, like yeet. That's the vibe. And I suppose when you look at it, I'm not comparing myself to Disney, right? But this whole place started as an idea, really. It started as an idea. Don't see why I can't build an idea from the ground up and let it transform from there. Again, obviously, didn't make cards up, didn't pretend, you know, I'm not going to pretend that I made cards up, but you know what I mean? Like starting a brand, if you like, or a place where people can trust. I think that's huge. I'm not going to say, hey, you can trust me, be that guy, because I hate that guy too. I think trusts can only really be built, whether it's business, friendship, partnerships, relationships, son and father, mother and son, whatever. I think it can only be built on two of our most expensive currencies. And this is me talking to myself, I'm not quoting anyone here. I think trust is only built through, one, consistency. You just showing time and time again that you're showing up for that person, for that reason, for that community, for those people, whoever. And then obviously, the most expensive currency in the world that no one can buy, time. Time and consistency. And even then, you cannot attain trust until it is tested. Getting a bit metaphorical with it here, but you get my point. In my case, the reason I'm talking about it this way is because I've experienced this in friendship and relationships, and I know the people that I can trust. I can count them with one hand. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of life, right? Most of us adults know that. That's a scary feeling sometimes. It shows you how alone you may be. But that's part of where I want to go in the business. That's where I was getting to without getting too sentimental about it. Is I want people to come to a place with my business that they know they can trust, they know I'm consistent, and we'll go from there. And I think this on YouTube, this journey is going to prove that to a certain extent, or at least have a place where people can come and figure me out before they ever decide to buy from me, or just reach out, talk to me, game with me, whatever, wherever this goes. I really am open for it, because like a lot of you guys who might be listening to this, you've lost your friends over the years, you don't see them as much. You could probably still bump into them tomorrow, have a beer like it was nothing. And I'm probably just rambling now at this point. So if you're checking out of the TCG business side, fair enough, but I think it's, Jesus, this is therapy for me, okay? Just bear with me. And you've lost those friends, right? You don't see them enough. Well, consider me another friend. If you need to reach out one day, message me and whatever, like genuinely have a conversation about, shit, what the hell is happening in my life? I'm 35, I'm divorced, I have 5 kids, I'm trying to restart a business in something I'm passionate about, Pokemon. I mean, what the hell? I'm 6'6" and I look like a Neanderthal. Why do I still like Pokemon? I do. And I love the community in the sense that it brings. I'm definitely rambling now, but I'm enjoying it. Back to Gibraltar tomorrow. I'll get back on the content. We've got a bunch of new product coming. We've got some Chinese, we've got some Korean, we've got some Japanese. Trying to touch all the corners of Asia here now, because where I want to go in business is being that guy for the Asian collectibles in the southern hemisphere of Europe. Yeah, big time, not. But I wouldn't be about it if I didn't start bringing them over. So, and the reason behind those is because a lot of those products are going to be a lot cheaper and more accessible than your generic Japanese is at the moment in general. After we saw that boom, you know how it goes. Asian Pokemon, TCG, as far as less expensive goes, if you just want to get into it, if you want to start your kids into it, you want to check it out, Chinese and Korean is going to be a great place to start on this channel with my business. So if you're in Gibraltar, you live locally, and if you don't live locally, I mean, if you live in the States, you'll probably never be a client of mine, because you're going to have way more better competition, way better options locally with cheaper shipping. Like shipping it over from Europe, it makes no sense, right? Japan to Europe, Europe to the States, that makes no sense. So you'll probably never be a client of mine. But if you are watching, I really appreciate it. Get a different perspective from the TCG world and a small business owner and a dad that's just losing it. But if you live in Gib, if you live in the south of Spain, Spain in general, Portugal maybe the UK one day if shipping can be figured out, and even then in the UK you'll probably find better options in terms of shipping. Japan to UK is a great one, for example. I think there's Radiant Collectibles. I think there's quite a few more shops. You've probably got Collector's Card House, no, Pokeclo, these people. So all them are out there. Those are kind of going to be your late night thoughts around small business, small TCG, a small Asian TCG startup business in the arse end of Europe. Not in a bad way, in a nice way. It's just, you know, the tail end of Europe, called Gibraltar. Trying to log this bit of a roller coaster in terms of emotions and, you know, doubt, all those kind of things. So in terms of advice on someone who's thinking of starting a small business in a small community, or just a small business in general, trying to work it out yourself or with your partner, in my case, make sure you're passionate about that thing that you're starting, because if not, you're not even going to enjoy the hard growth, which is what phase I believe I'm in. If you don't genuinely enjoy what you're doing, and I'm enjoying this now just rambling to a camera in the middle of Disney, then I don't think it's going to work. That might be, oh yeah, like state the obvious, dude, but if you jump into something and you think, oh, I'm just going to be able to make a quick buck out of this, or this will be instant money, or this will be money in years to come. If you don't feel passionate for it, I don't think it's going to last. Because starting a small business in something you love, in my case, a Pokemon TCG business, is challenging. It challenges your belief in Pokemon collecting in a different way. Like you start to remodel yourself as a collector. In my case, it's just like started pushing me more towards sealed and stuff like that, and the odd graded card. And then from there, make sure you do research. Like, do your research, man. I can't stress that enough. In your local area, depending on where you are, like in Gib, for example, you know, the tax codes you're going to be on, depending on which side you decide to venture into on the business side, where it's going to go eventually, what kind of numbers you're going to need to achieve to get to where you want to be. Are those realistic? Have you looked into the population that might buy your stuff or not buy your stuff, where that's going to go? There's so many different things to look into. Providers, buying stock at the right time in case it goes down so you can sell it for cheaper, because obviously cheaper sells at the end of the day. And just juggling everything all the time. And then getting your numbers right and getting your tax right in terms of, you know, the legalities behind it. And it's just, everything's just a headache, man. A headache. So those late night thoughts of the grind never really leaves you after you start something. And when I say grind, I mean it's like in the back of your mind grinding itself like a gear, like almost like you haven't earned this yet, like you don't deserve it, even though you have with your other full-time job. Weird. If you've made it to this far in the video, I genuinely appreciate you watching. I appreciate your time. I'm hoping to bring out more content like this, just ramblings and just a back and forth, a little bit of psychology back and forth, see if it bounces off your own, you know. Thoughts, the thought blender. And then from there, I'll just start bringing out more honest content about, you know, profit I made last month, for example. I'll cover January. I'll tell you what worked, what didn't work, what surpassed my expectations, what's the genuine profit we made, and show you the reality of trying to start that up. And it's gonna shock some of you probably, thinking that I'm making a decent amount. It's not the case at all. For the right reasons though, I'm not complaining. For the right reasons. Tell me if you're enjoying this kind of content. If you want to reach out and comment, I'll reply for sure. Stay healthy, stay grounded. I'm gonna start becoming religious at this point. I'm gonna be saying things like trust God. Trust yourself. Don't believe in motivation, that's a trap. Do what needs to be done and chase your dream, but do it smart. I'm not trying to be like some motivational guru, far from it, man. I'm reporting from the trenches, feeling the doubt. It is setting in. My kids are asleep right now in Disney and I'm out here thinking about whether I'm going to be able to give this to them when I want to give it to them. Because I mean, hell, if life isn't about making your family happy, what is it about? Happiness, that's another topic we can end up talking about. I'll leave you alone now. Bye.